Today's episode of Chat and Chew is sponsored by Be Positive Productions and Multimedia Studios, LLC. I like to think of imagination as something akin to a superpower. Used in the right context for good, it can help bolster our aspirations and propel us closer to our goals. We visualize the outcome of our accomplishments and work toward attaining said thing. However, when used to propagate untruths, reality can become distorted. We no longer know what's real and what's not. The more often we repeat something to ourselves, the more likely it is to become our truth, and the lines between perception and reality begin to blur. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course, hit the bell to activate notifications that will remind you when we're on. Please be sure to leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you.
I want to invite you to our Father Forever Authentic Fatherhood Summit. This summit is for all fathers, new fathers, struggling fathers, our good fathers who want to be great fathers. We will take a deep dive into the purpose of fatherhood through our roundtable and panel discussion. We want to further empower you to be the best dad you can be. Also, if you know of a new father, our struggling father, invite them. If you know of a great father, invite them as well, so we can glean from their insight during our question and answer sessions. It's going to be a great summit as we share in the brotherhood of fathers. Can't wait to see you there. Greetings. Once again, we are here at our weekly Chat and Chew podcast. I'm very, very excited today. We got some very exciting guests. But before I get into all of that, I'm going to ask James to do your little work that you normally do. Housekeeping.
This is housekeeping. I hate housework, but I'll do it today. I want to welcome our viewers. I'm James Jackson, Dean of Students here at Fathers Forever University. To you viewers who are on Facebook, do us a big favor. We would like for you to like our page and share it with your friends and follow us there, and you'll know whenever we're on air, you'll get a notification from us. And we don't want to leave out our YouTube friends. If you're on YouTube, just subscribe to our channel. Click the little bell in the note and you'll get a notification every time we're on air, as well as Instagram. Don't have to do a lot with Instagram, just follow us there and you will catch us when we are doing our broadcast. Back to you, Glenn.
James, you do such a good job with that. I have to hire you to be our announcer. Anyway, I'm very, very excited today. We have on our weekly podcast a elected official.
That's right.
Yes. Commissioner Tara Waters. She was just elected last week, I think it was. Just voted in. She actually took the Honorable Dr. James West's seat, who passed away back in November. And he left a good legacy, a good friend. He knows Father Forever well, and he's been a very, very good commissioner. And you get to feel his shoes, his feet. His seat.
That's right.
So I want to welcome you.
Thank you.
This morning, today, and I want you to. We're going to start out. I know you have a very, very impressive resume, but before we get to that, tell us about who you are.
Well, first of all, a big thank you for the opportunity to be here today. It is very exciting to be able to share with the community, introduce myself, and to really talk about the things that are important to our community. And so, again, I'm Tara Waters. I represent you on the Wake County Commission. That is District 5. And you shared I was really honored to be able to complete the term of our beloved Commissioner James West. And I will say I will never fill his shoes, but he certainly left a blueprint on how we serve and how we make life better for all of our neighbors.
Yes,
and so that is certainly my desire. And so I've been in this seat since January 2nd. I came from the Wake County School Board.
Wow.
And so I'm a big fan of public schools, education as a way to open doors for the next generation. And so I've always been an advocate for schools, and I appreciate the opportunity to give voice to the things that are important to our community.
Wow.
That's
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah. So, are you married? Are you from Raleigh originally?
Well, I have been here long enough where I think I am from Raleigh at this point. I came here as a sixth grader, and I went to East Millbrook Middle School, if you're familiar with that.
Right.
And one of the great honors of my life was being able to represent the neighborhood that I grew up with on the Wake County School Board. So it was the honor of my life to be able to give voice to the neighborhood that changed my life and gave me the expanded opportunity to increase my education.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm a mom of two boys in the school district, two boys.
Okay, how old are your boys?
They are 5. We had a couple of birthdays recently, 5 and 14. So yes, I have a big age gap. I'm in preschool and middle school at the same time. So yes.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's great. So tell us about the work that when it comes down to education. We're a fatherhood program, and we talk a lot about fatherhood. And one of the things that we really, really want to do before we get into the commission work, I want you to focus a little bit about education as it relates to fathers and how important and how imperative it is for fathers to be a part of their kids' education.
It is essential that dads are present and active in their children's life. Starting at the preschool level, it can make a real difference in the outcomes of our children. We have data that supports that. And representation really matters. It builds confidence. It builds trust between a child, a teacher, and the parent when dads are present. And it enriches the experience. And so I served on the Wake County School Board, and you'll see across the country, there are a lot of disparities that happen when it is related to communities of color. We see higher suspension rates for Black children. We see other disparities that are, really connected to areas that we need to address. And dads are a great way for us to be able to bring change and to give voice to things that are important. So I encourage all dads, sign up for opportunities to volunteer. And those opportunities can range from maybe reading at your child's school once a week, or you can also do other things behind the scenes if you're not as comfortable being in the forefront. There are a myriad of ways that you can give back to your child's classroom and make an impact and represent the needs of the next generation.
We have a couple of dads who make it their, they make time to go to their child's school and meet the teachers and to let them know that they are present and involved. And that's a rare thing, but it shouldn't be,
Absolutely.
Dads should be at the school too.
And what we want to kind of help, the paradigm shift about fatherhood across the board needs to be re-examined. We need to reassess on every level. But right now we're just going to focus on the school system. But I could go into 1,000 other things that we need to look at when it comes down to fatherhood. But how important it is for fathers, when I was raising my kids, I worked it wasn't a foster child, but it was kind of a program kind of like that. And I had one of the kids lived in my house. And he was a troubled kid. He got into a lot of trouble. And my presence at the school was, I was there almost every other day because of his behavior. But I know every time I walked into that school, the kids, when the one that I guess it wasn't used to a father coming in on a regular basis. And again, the reason why I was there was because he was in trouble. But that experience of watching these kids watch me every time I walked into that school, and they just watched me. I mean, it made me feel good. It made me feel strong. And it's like, what is it for if fathers would take on that responsibility. And I know we all work, and we work in construction, and sometimes it's hard for us to take an hour lunch to go and do a school. But we tell fathers to take at least one day a week if you can.
Yes.
Or one day a month, 2 days, whatever, and just to go spend time with your child at the school. It doesn't matter what grade they are. I mean, of course, the older they are, sometimes they don't want to keep their dad to come, but especially at that early age where when you walk into the room, you got these 2 little 3-year-old kids, and they're watching you, and it also it helps, in my opinion, with bullying. Yeah. If you got a kid that's bullying another kid, when that kid other dad show up, that bullying kind of stops. You know what I'm saying? It's something, and we tell the fathers all the time, it's something about your presence. Absolutely. When you go into a room, things change.
Absolutely. I echo all of what you have shared. You've given examples of your personal experience being a dad in a school building, and you've spoken of dads who are prioritizing being in the building with their children. Yes. It can be really transformational for the child of that parent, also for the other children in the classroom. It's really important that we see the diversity of our community represented and reflected in our classroom, and men play an important role in that, and they bring a different element to an environment. They can shift an environment and bring about positive change, and their interaction with the educators in the building, whether it's the teacher, the principal, can really set the tone and really change the outcome in the future for a child. And you used an example of a child who was maybe having some discipline issues, and what that can mean for a child to believe an adult cares about them and is invested in their future is really powerful. So no matter where you are in life, what skill set you bring, you have something valuable to add to the school community. And so use your time to be able to speak to your child's teacher, to go in and mentor, coach. If you like sports, you can coach. If you like reading, you can do books. If you want to be behind the scenes, there are a myriad of ways that you can serve and give back. And your presence will be a memory that child will have with them for the rest of their life. And it will build confidence, it will build trust, and it will also motivate a child to want to do better, because when they know somebody believes in them and is invested in them, they'll do what they can to make that person proud. And dads are really high on that list of being able to shift the paradigm for the future of our children.
Wow.
That's wonderful. Dr. Terrence Ruth was with us when a summit that we had, and he talked about the first 1,000 days of a kid's life, how essential it is for a father to be present.
Absolutely.
And actually, that's about 3 years. To be able to be involved in that kid's life from the day he was born, until especially, as he grew older. But he was talking about those first 30 days, and I got to go back and get that research, because it was powerful how he shared that the first 1,000 days could make a big difference whether kids be successful or not. And one of the things we teach the fathers, we have a class on statistics, and we go over like 6 or 7 statistics. One of them was like 7% of kids who drop out of high school come from a fatherless home. 90% of kids who end up with a substance abuse issues come from a fatherless home. And we go over those statistics not to make the guys look bad or feel bad, but to let them know your presence or absence can make a difference in a child's life.
And I'm glad that you are sharing that information, because it can really shift the mindset, because there are a lot of things in our society that sometimes make men feel that it's not important for them to engage in the same way that mothers do.
Exactly.
And so the fact that you are really giving the information and giving access and giving opportunity is going to be really powerful. At my age, I have vivid memories of things that I did with my own father when I was a child. We're still very close, and his impact and his footprint in my life has gone on and has made a real difference. And the data that you are showing and speaking about is really informing the community and the public of why you need to be present, active, and the power of your presence and activity.
And something that we had to let our guys know was, it's not a survey that where this information came from. It's not a poll where this information came from. It's from factual
statistics
data.
are factual.
It's from collected data that makes it factual. And you know, you can't argue with the facts at that point.
Right.
Right.
And then the eyes begin to open once they understand it's not my opinion. You
Right.
know?
And you see, again, as I said earlier, there's a whole lot of reasons why society need to start to include fathers. And some of the guys say a lot of times when they're left out of the circle, when it comes down to the IEP, when it comes down to calling them for the teacher parent conference, the father sometimes is left out of the loop. If mom don't tell him about the conference, and the school don't tell him about the conference, he doesn't know about the conference. And sometimes fathers get left out of this. It's like, why even bother? And they you know, what as we shift into the word of commission, the thing that you can do, how can we start to work in to make those relationships, whether it's in the school system or whatever, start to involve, look at fatherhood from a different perspective as not part of inclusion, as a part, you know, if they show up, they show up, they don't, they don't.
Well, I think it is making sure that our school systems understand the issue so that you can interrupt systems that have made it difficult for fathers to be involved. And one of the best ways that I believe that can be done is speaking directly to the elected officials who make decisions regarding the activities of a school. And so if you have not ever gone to a Wake County School Board meeting, it is important for you to go and to be present and to sign up for public comment. You will be given 3 minutes to share things that you're sharing today and making sure that people are aware of the challenge that fathers have in connecting with their children and letting the district know that fathers are present, available, and willing to do this work, and that there needs to be a shift in the way that we are embracing fathers and inviting them into the conversations around their children. And so use the access that you have to the full board of elected officials at every level to sign up for the public comment, because when you sign up for public comment, you get the ear of the decision makers and you have your time with them to be able to give the information that is going to make change and is going to make sure that we interrupt systems that have made it hard for certain communities to be involved and connected and engaged.
Okay. So tell me, what is the position of a commissioner? Exactly what is it that commissioners do?
So in Wake County, we have a board of commissioners that is made up of 7 commissioners.
Okay.
And we are in districts. I represent District 5, and that is Southeast Raleigh, a portion of Knightdale, and a portion of Garner. And so we are concerned about every part of the community. Even though we represent a district, we have responsibility over things that are important to your daily lives. And so that includes being able to give voice to the things that are important through the budget process, through making policies and decisions that are going to impact you, whether it is looking at where libraries are going to be built or whether we're talking about affordable housing. These are all important decisions. So it is very important that you are aware of who your county commissioners are and that you are communicating to them what is important to you. If you're concerned about affordable housing, then they need to hear from you about affordable housing. If you're concerned about safety and security, they need to hear from you. You are the person who has afforded the elected official the opportunity to be in that seat, and you should make your needs known, and you should also hold elected officials accountable for the things that are important to you and to your neighbors and to the community as a whole.
Okay.
So everywhere I look around the Raleigh proper area, there are apartment buildings that are just going up everywhere, you know. How does that work its way into a decision that's being made about maybe roads and then more schools you're probably going to need and things like that? I mean, do you all get involved in any of those types of discussions as well?
Well, there are a number of issues that come to the county, and then some are housed within the municipality and some are housed within the school system. But the county has a great deal of influence and impact on a lot of the decisions that are made. And funding for public schools, a large part of that funding comes from the county. So if we're talking about new developments and needing
Yes.
to expand school resources. The county does fund those. And also with affordable housing, some of those are initiatives that are funded by the county. Some are funded by municipalities. So it's very complex
Okay.
in the inner workings of how neighborhoods continue to grow. But among the things that are most important to Wake County residents is the rapid growth. We're seeing people, there are estimates, some that say 60, 65 people move here per day.
Wow.
And so we want to make sure that we have places for those people, and we also want affordable housing for the people who are already here. And so these are very complex issues, and it is important for every citizen to tap into being a part of the conversation to make those things known that are important to you.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's good. So we do a lot of work in the reentry. The guys that live in our house, they're just getting out of prison. They're just getting out of. What is as a commissioner? What are some of the policies or things that you are concerned about? I want to see happen when these people, they call them justice involved. When they return back, because 90% of them is going to come back to the community. They're not going to stay incarcerated forever. But sometimes when they come back, we make it hard for them to be successful because of the services that they're not getting afforded. How can you use your seat to make sure that, I know you can't do it all, but to kind of influence some of the ways that policies are adhered to when kids or when these adults come back to the neighborhood?
Well, I'm very interested in making sure that we have resources available. I spent most of my career as an adult educator and worked primarily at Wake Tech. And so making sure that I provided training that helped with things like interview skills, resume writing, and then also educating the community as a whole about the value in hiring individuals who have done their service and have now come and are now able and available to do work. So changing the mindset, changing the culture, and making sure that we center opportunities for employment. We want to make sure that we are on top of employment opportunities, housing opportunities, and other resources that are going to have a direct impact on the ability of anyone who has been justice involved to move forward with the next stages of their life. And it's important, as you all are the experts in this area, to partner with your elected officials and to educate and inform on how we can support, because we need the information from you as the subject matter experts to be informed about areas where we need to put more resource, more education, and more emphasis.
Right. So, case in point, funding for fatherhood programs, that's my expertise. We always going to go back to that. But funding for fatherhood programs, if you had 4 nonprofits, one was for animals, one was for dogs, children, one was for women, one was for men. These 4 nonprofits. Which one, they'll put you on the spot, which one you think would get the most money first?
Well, I think you have to have a process that gives everyone equal consideration.
And she had that, had that in place. A lot of times that's in place, but the ones that get the most money first is the animals. The point is, the animals will get the money first as a nonprofit, then the kids, then the children, the moms, but the fathers will get the leftovers, if there is any leftovers.
Well, there again comes back to my point about holding elected officials accountable and to giving voice. So have the opportunity to go before all of your commissioners, sign up for public comment, and say to your commissioners, you will have their full ear and attention that I see a disparity in the funding that exists for programs that support fathers. Right. And I would like to know what you all can do about that as you are entering into the budget season. This is the appropriate time for you to sign up for public comment. So I'm going to put the ball back on in your court to be able to advocate and speak, because if you don't ever come and talk about what is important to you, nobody's ever going to know, and you're never going to see the needle move in the direction that you need to see it move in. And so I've seen a real passion around educating our community how important it is to vote. but there has not been as much emphasis on how important it is for you to come and give public comment to the elected officials who are making the decisions on a daily basis that are going to affect your life the most. So you have got to sign up for public comment and get the ear of all those decision makers.
We will.
And I will look forward to seeing your name. And other communities do that well. And I will say this, and you use the example of the animal shelter. I was at a commission meeting recently, and they came in their matching t-shirts, and they spoke about the animal needs. And so guess what happens? There is interest and involvement in making that change because they came to the meeting, they had on their shirts, and they talked about what was important to them. And so other groups need to take advantage of the same opportunity to come and say what is important to you. And if you never do it, you will never see change in those areas.
And that's true about the animal shelters? Because I remember hearing all of this outcry with the media saying, we've got all these animals, we have nowhere to put them. You know, can somebody come and adopt? We'll waive the fees and things. I mean, and that was an ongoing message, for dogs and cats. You know, and I'm like, oh, so this is what we need to do.
So this is, you know, because a lot of times we don't know, and that's why, you know, I commissioners and councilmen and all those positions are there for that reason, to be able to go out in the community and get the ears of the people and make the policy change.
Absolutely, because I serve at the will of the voters. And so I'm in this seat for 4 years, and that could change. But it's important while I'm in this seat that I know what is important to the community. And so as one individual commissioner, you don't have the ability to make sweeping change. So you need at least 4 votes on the commission to make something change. So talking to me is powerful and important, but you need to talk to the full body. And especially going into budget season, if you feel that there is an unmet need, then this is the time for you to come and give public comment and say, hey, I noticed you haven't been funding in this area. Is there anything that you can do as you're moving forward in the budget process to consider those things? And so that is what our public needs to do.
I like that.
Yes, I really.
I mean, it's informing us because it's new to me.
And
as well as saying new, it is news as well to me. You know.
Which is this discussion is good because right now we've got some assignments that we got to do, and one is to get an audience with the commissioners and lay out a plan and tell them about what we think that fatherhood needs in the community.
If I could, I'd like to ask Ms. Waters, what is your average day like from the time you wake up to the time you lay your head
as a
down?
Commissioner?
Give us an idea about your life.
And so I wear a lot of different hats, and so I'm switching between different roles, and my most important role is mom, and so I'm up very early to make sure that I'm in carpool by 7:30 a.m. And so I work. I do have another full-time position in the community that helps individuals connect with volunteer opportunities, and so I do that work. I serve on the commission, and I try to engage with our community as a whole. So every day looks a little bit different, but it always centers being able to represent and connect with members of our community, whether it is on an individual basis to make sure that people know who represents them, or whether it's in a larger capacity talking to groups or community nonprofit partners. But it's important to me for people to know who represents them and for me to educate and inform on how you can make change happen for the things that matter to you.
But I like the part about mom first.
Right.
And we are all about family first.
Yes.
You know, you strengthen that family so that you can now go and do some other things too. But families are important.
One of the things, the most powerful things that I like, you know, we've just met you a few days ago, and the fact that, you know, you had just got voted in, and we made a phone call. We wanted to talk to you, and your willingness to come and sit down and have a discussion was amazing. I was like, she just made commissioner. She's willing to come down and sit there, you know. And but thank you for the opportunity to kind of hear what we are saying, and for the invitation for us not just to complain about it now, but to actually do something about it. And that's a challenge for us, that we're going to we're going to fulfill that challenge, and we may need your help
Oh,
and how to
absolutely.
do that. But
Absolutely.
we're going to, at some point in time, stand before those 7 commissioners and bring out the stuff, the point that we need, that our expertise is at how to empower fathers, how to equip fathers. Real short story. A friend of mine, daughter got pregnant, and they told her daughter, here, go to school, do this, do that. They paid for her to go back to school. She became a nurse. They paid for her the daycare. And what they do with the father, they did with him? Told him to get a job. Now, he was right. He needed to get a job. But suppose they empowered that father the same way that they did that mom. How would it change his life?
Yeah.
And I understand that the mom had to have that. She got a kid now. She needed all the support. But how not support the father as well and say, yeah, get a job, but here's a voucher to go to school. Here's something that you could take a trade at to go to school now to help equip you to be the father to this child that you need to be.
And I'm glad you share that story, because a lot of times we are operating in biases and aren't even aware of the things that we're overlooking. And so when you share that story and when you tell people how important it is, it puts a seed in my mind that if a situation occurs, I'm going to now be asking, well, what about the father in this situation? And so as you continue to speak and do the work that you're doing and giving voice to systems that need changing, you're doing some really powerful work. You're educating the public, you're changing mindsets, you're building community, and you are also addressing biases that have made it more difficult for dads to engage in their families, in their children's lives in the same way. And so it's really powerful work that you're doing, and I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to be here and to have connected. The honor was mine that I was asked to be here. And so any way that I can continue to learn and inform and educate myself is something that I'll look forward to, so that I can give voice to the things that are important.
Absolutely.
Well, we got you on speed dial now.
You do.
And we're gonna be blowing up your phone.
You
You
come
can say,
anytime.
they will fathers forever again. What do they want this time?
I welcome that. I welcome that. I always tell people, you got my number and you're welcome to give it to anyone who may need it, because I want to be accessible, because I have been in places where I have needed help and I needed someone to be able to support me. And so I want to give that to others in our community. And like I say, I serve at the will of the voter. And so I feel it is my job and my duty to be accessible and available and to be connected to the things that are important to the community.
Don't be a stranger.
I will
That's
not.
all
No,
we're
no,
gonna
it's
say.
not. It's
Don't
not.
be a
So,
stranger.
we're gonna definitely gonna be calling you back, and again, James and I are gonna really sit down and our team together and find out, how we can position ourselves to do that presentation. And start asking for the things that we need in the community. And I am really, really excited about this partnership. Dr. James West, we had a couple of conversations about the stuff that he was wanting to do for us, and he understood the work that we was doing, and a father himself. So I really, really congratulate you on your position,
Yes,
and I know
congratulations.
you're going to do really well. Before we leave, tell us what are some of your plans for Wake County as a commissioner? What are some of the things you want to see change in Wake County?
It aligns with the things that the community has said are important. So issues around affordable housing, around public schools, around growth and development, around economic prosperity, for all those are important to me. And then there are certain groups that have my heart, and that is to make impact on children in foster care and members of the disability community who are looking to expand opportunities there. So it's important to me to give voice to people who are not often heard from and who are not often part of the conversation and decision-making process. So those are the areas that I hope to make impact in.
Now I want you to add one more.
And I now have a third group that I will be talking about dads and making sure
There
dads
you
are
go.
at the table.
Yes,
Right,
because dads are often, we appear, and we are the strong, we are the foundation, but sometimes we get overlooked because, they expect us to just be this super, and we're not always there.
Right.
And we need that assistance.
Glenn, I'm not going to prolong. I am prolonging this.
Okay.
Just for a moment.
Yes.
You remember the story that one of our managers told about absent fathers not being there. But when they came to the barbershop, what did they see? Saw a lot of fathers with their
Yes.
children getting them haircuts.
Yes.
And things.
Yes. So on one side of the coin, we see a lot of fathers that's not involved in the kid's life.
Right.
For lots of reasons. They got criminal records, they got substance abuse. And to us, sometimes that look like the norm. Whereas there's another guy on our team, he's a barber. And he said 90% of his clients are men who coming to the barbershop with their kids. So it looked like fathers over here are really dropping the ball, but the other side of the coin, fathers are very much involved, and they're doing the things that they need to do. We need to help them to spill over to help fathers that's not doing so well. But sometimes we do get this picture that fathers, especially black fathers, that we are not responsible in doing the things that, you know, and I know as a single father raising my kids, how impactful it was and how I had to, you know, as a single father, people wanted to praise me and say, "You're doing a good job." It's like, I'm doing what single mom's been doing forever. You know, don't pat me too much on the back, because single moms have been doing this since Jesus left. You know, so we've been doing. You know, but there's a lot of men now are stepping up to the plate and becoming the single father, and that's why we need some more. They need more. They need to know there's other advocacies that they could tap into to help their lives better, help them to be the better dad they need to be.
And you're doing a great job in sharing that message, and I look forward to seeing you share that message in the elected bodies that represent you in this community.
We're going to be there. We are going to be there.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we are. So I know we got to wind down. This is, that 30 minutes is just really, really, yeah. So I'm going to let you have the last word. Look straight into that camera and tell your community now you represent the things you really, really want to bring to the table during your next 4 years. And
viewers, listen up.
So it is my absolute pleasure to serve on the Wake Board of Commissioners to represent all residents of Wake County, and that includes our youngest to our most senior. And it is important to me that you feel seen, you feel heard, and you feel valued in this community. So please know that you have a champion for the things that are important to you, and I look forward to accessing and hearing from you so that I can make decisions that are informed and that center the needs of our community and give everyone the opportunity for a great quality of life. As I mentioned, I was honored to follow Commissioner West. He was amazing in his legacy. The blueprint that he left is a model for service, and I hope to continue to carry forward with the things that he modeled for our community. But please know that you have an elected official available and accessible and with a heart for service.
Well, great.
So I would imagine you have an office phone and things like that. Is that something you could share?
Absolutely.
All right.
And so you can always reach out to your county commissioners. Any elected official is important for you to get in touch. It's probably easiest for you to email me. And so my email is tara.waters@wake.gov. That's TARA.WATERS@WAKE.gov. And I would love to hear from you and look forward to other invitations from Fathers Forever.
You will be getting them, trust me.
And build community.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast.
The pleasure was mine.
And
Yes.
yes. And to our audience, thanks again for watching us, and we'll see you next time. Here's 3 ways you can support our Dads at a Distance initiative. Give a copy to a family member or friend. Donate monthly, a book monthly, 5 books monthly, how many books you want to do monthly donation. Reverse book signing, your church, your business. You can make a donation go to our website at www.afatherforever.com and go to our PayPal at Fathers Forever. Our Cash App is $Fathers Forever. Make your donation today. Please include in the note section, include DAAD. Again, include in the note section DAAD.
If you or someone you know would like to be a part of the show, please visit our website at www.afatherforever.com or call us at 919-779-9905. The Chat and Chew podcast streams Thursdays at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. To schedule a reverse book signing or to find out more information about how you can become a part of the programs you heard us mention today, please be sure to stop by our website as well.
Hello, everyone. This is Glenn Warren, founder and executive director of Fathers Forever. I want to share an alarming reality with you. 627,000 fathers are incarcerated that have kids under 18. Now, there are 56,000 moms incarcerated who have kids under 18. The reality is there are so many more fathers incarcerated than moms. This is why I Am a Father Forever book exists. Now, I need your help. I am inviting you to help us get this book into as many fathers incarcerated as possible. Here's how it works. For your donation of $22, we will provide a book to an incarcerated father. Thank you in advance for helping Fathers Forever heal fathers and save families.